have a mirrored stance. My left foot forward, his right foot forward. I'm gonna take a shot so that my knee drops outside of his foot and ankle, bringing myself close to the body. My outside hand hooks around the leg. My inside hand forms a gable grip, and my inside elbow pulls tight to my body. Take a step up with my back trail leg, and I start driving myself up to 2 knees as I keep his knee glued down near my belt line. I come up to a nice strong position, hips back, head forward, still dragging elbow back to keep his knee attached to my belt line. Now, I'm gonna roll my outside shoulder over the top of the femur. Once I feel that pressure of bone on bone, I'm ready to take a step towards the front as I take a back step with my outside foot and drop my shoulder through that leg, setting him down to the floor. So, as opposed to our double legs, which usually happens when we have the same anatomic foot forward. So like we both have our left foot forward here. When Mitchell switches his feet, we now have a mirrored stance, okay? It's as if I'm like actually looking in a mirror, seeing my reflection. I wanna take my shot now. It's gonna be harder to get between his legs because the angle's off. So I shoot outside of the lead foot, putting me outside of his knee here, close to his body. My outside arm wraps deep. I'm a big fan of the gable grip here. We'll talk about the most common ways that I see people picking up this leg, but let's start here real quick. So I like a gable grip that glues his thigh and knee to my body. I am using the knee as a leverage point, which admittedly it is closer to the hip, so it's stronger, but with this grip, I can also glue it to my body. So instead of it being the strength of my arms that lifts this leg, I come straight up with it with the strength of my hips and my legs as I'm standing up, okay? When I am going to lift this leg, I wanna make sure that I take my grip and really glue it to my body. Otherwise, what happens is I get stood up and pulling his leg off the ground turns into like an arm and lower back exercise where I'm just trying to lift up against the strength of his hips and his glutes. I'm not gonna win that most of the time. So instead I glue it to my body so that as my hips rise, his leg doesn't have much option but to rise with me. This helps me stay in a straight posture. I'm trying to stay slightly leaned forward into him. If just my posture can start taking away his base and his balance before I even start moving, that's awesome. Now, the other way that you'll see a lot of people pick this up is by splitting the grip and moving longer on the lever. So my outside arm is still gonna hook. This is almost always gonna be the case for any type of head inside single leg. But my bottom hand might reach to scoop at the bottom back behind the heel. This is gonna give me a certain amount of lift on the leg, a little bit better leverage for people that enjoy this type of setup. I personally like to glue the leg to my body and move from here. I feel like my posture and my spine are fairly strong, so I would rather stand up with the leg than start trying to move around and have to manipulate the like extremes of leverage. I would rather go with the control aspect than the extra leverage and lift, but that's just me. Now, once I get this up, okay, I'm hips back, chest and head forward. And what I want to get out of my head is the idea that I'm using my neck to take him down to the floor. For the longest time, that was kind of how he got taught. I know I started in schools that were not very proficient in wrestling, and I got taught how to do a single leg by like just driving him down with my temple. And that's not very mechanically good at all. From my grip here, what I want to do is roll the front side of my shoulder down into that bone that's inside of this leg. So I form this like downward pressure. My head, if you notice, comes off of him. Now I wouldn't hang out here for a long period of time where he can start snatching up my head or push me away. But when I'm ready to go, I roll it over and the first contact becomes my dump. As my shoulder rolls over, I feel that contact. I don't hang out there, there's too much space. This movement, keep in mind, it's not a whip this way. That's another mistake I see a lot of people do. They whip over and then they start pushing them this way. It's like a circular pressure. I come over the top, I pressure down, and I whip back down in the direction of the leg that I have trapped. Now, as I'm pressuring down with the shoulder, I'm forming this like semicircle with my footwork, where I take a step forward with my lead inside foot, and then with my back outside foot, I take a back step afterwards to complete that little rotation. Boom. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with hitting takedowns, you might hit one of these and be like, I have no idea where to go from here. Let's come this way a little bit. One of my favorite things to do after a single leg is I'm going to keep some control over this leg, post on the knee, and drop myself down in here for like a headquarters split squat position.